42 goes down low. The 79 gets caught up in it just at the very end. The 67 though of Nathan Stanley makes it on through free and clear. He, Paul Ferdiani, and Larry Dickerson having a drag race down in the for one last attack, getting underneath him, not quite able to make it stick, having to lift once again. Into exit of turn number 4, down onto the front straightaway here. Who's going to win it with the drag race? It's going to be Timothy Pope. First 3 and 4, 751 with a hefty lead here, about a half a car length as the one gets up into the wall with a run down. 200 feet. It's going to be a close one across the line. Garrett Wells made it 3 wide on the far outside lane, picking up spots left and right here as everybody fighting for every single spot we go. Coming across the line, white flag. So here we go, final lap. Hello and welcome everybody to this Numb Thumbs Racing League Xfinity Series penultimate race here before the championship next week. Coming at you live from Daytona. We saw a heck of a show here, well not here, but earlier on today with those official boys running over there at Phoenix. Well, we're here with even more fun racing here tonight. We thank you all for joining us here as we get ready to launch this ship and watch these drivers go on out there. Almost 200. It looking like people are hitting 200 miles an hour as we're here in practice. So this is going to be a fun, exciting, and fast-paced race here this evening. So let's get things all kicked on off with the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And welcome back. As always, we have to say a big thank you to the great sponsors that support us over here for the NTRL, like JP Design and 3D Prints alongside Davidson Builders. We thank you guys so very much for being on board here all season long, alongside AdminBoxx there as well. Some fantastic button boxes being made over there. Please be sure to go up there and get a AdminBoxx to help these guys on out. Can also, wrong one. I need this one. But big thank you to TrackDogsRacing.com, the premier merchandising supplier of the NTRL and AAA broadcasting. Track Bar Media out there as well. Some fantastic promo videos and other real life racing videos out there as well. So thank you, Track Bar Media. Of course, big thank you to Sim Gear Central as well. Some more great button box choices being made over there. So be sure to go give them some business as a big thank you. And of course, big thank you as well to the Num Thumbs Gaming trucking community, keeping the virtual world alive and proud with their hauling and moving of goods and whatnot. Even got their own private server up and running now. So be sure to head on over to NTG over on the Discord and find out how you can get involved if you enjoy playing the America Truck Sim and European Truck Sim over there with the fellow community members. As always, I'm Alan Brown, and I am joined by some very good people here this evening. Mr. Alan English joining me up here in the booth tonight. And Alan, we're coming back to Daytona. I know we've been here a time or two this season, but man, this time it's a little bit different. Final race before the championship race coming up here next week. So expect these drivers to maybe have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder here.
Yeah, back-to-back super speedway plate tracks to end the season here. We wouldn't have it any other way right here. Bringing this to you from NTRL. Yeah, man, it's anything goes, right? Anything can happen at these plate tracks, and this pack racing is just it just gets crazy out there. Besides all the wrecking and stuff you could possibly see, you could also see some green flag laps happen out here. Green flag pit stops we were just talking about here a few minutes ago. But yeah, man, I'm curious to see how things are going to turn out tonight. These guys are hitting some pretty crazy high speeds out there in these Xfinity cars, so look out for that. Holding your line is going to be key here, so you have your pusher push you without hitting you in the corner and causing a big accident. So we see those guys practicing out there right now during our open qualify session here. They got about 5 more minutes left.
And down there, all ready for the hustle and bustle, Mr. Adam Turner joining us from pit road. Adam, penultimate race time, which means everyone's trying to finalize their positions to make that, big old run and walk away with a big old virtual cup here at the end of next week.
Yeah, I think by mistake they're doing open qualifying, but I kind of like open qualifying. It's more indicative of how the race is going to go and how fast you're going to run. So, and they're already starting to argue during the qualifying. So that, to me, is a bonus. I love that. So everybody's going to be a little heated. We are close to the end, like you said, Brown. This is the second to last race. Next week's Talladega for all the marbles. Chump to champ scenarios here. Champ to champ. Everything can happen here. Anybody can win, even English. So that's going to be the fun part tonight, watching all the movement and all the teamwork and who's going to, push forward into next week for the championship. But other than that, one fast repair tonight, 70% fuel, 5 sets of tires, 25 incident points, you will be disqualified. That's going to be tough to reach. I don't think we'll see that. And 73 degrees roughly on the track right now, so it's nice and cool. Those cars are going to stick.
Yes, indeed. As we take a look at that race info here tonight for this 2.5 mile tri-oval speedway here down in Florida. Beautiful weather under the night sky, so the lights are going to be blaring bright and looking all pretty down there, but no weather problems to be had, even though I think in real life they have some thunderstorms rolling through here tonight. But nonetheless, a great night for some racing. Bringing us down to tonight's key to the race, and it's push or pull. Just don't make people mad. It's one of these games of give and take here at these plate tracks, and sometimes you're going to be the one getting pushed around, other times you're going to be doing the pushing. You just don't want to be doing it incorrectly and ticking people off.
Yeah, you want to manage your space out there as best you can. We will see some 3-wide action out there tonight. Probably not sustained for laps, but definitely going to see some drivers get into that situation where they kind of run out of places to go, and they'll be sticking that nose of that car wherever they can to try to make some positions here. Yeah, the little bit of anger we heard on the radio think that was the 03 of Dylan Bryant was telling the car behind him, "Hey, stop bumping me. You're canceling out my your qualifying time. If you make contact with another car, it invalidates your lap." So he was out there trying to get a good lap, and I don't know if the car behind him knew that pushing him and contacting his bumper was canceling his laps. So, but he sure knows now. Dylan let him know over the radio, "Hey man, stop beating up my bumper. You're killing my lap times."
As these drivers only got about 2 minutes left, and you can see the big old mad dash heading on around out there right now. People coming out of the pits making one last attempt here. Why are these guys going over 200 miles an hour? I didn't think the Xfinity cars had this much power.
Is that the update? What happened with these update on these cars?
I don't know. I know they're really low drag cars, you know, and have a lot of power. They're almost like the new Cup car, and the Cup car has been kind of neutered here in real life NASCAR. So the next gen Cup car, I should say.
I was going to ask if they if they might have accidentally went to that new virtual Gen 4 Cup car that they iRacing accidentally put on there.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, they are making some pretty good speed out there. I've seen them hit 188 a couple times. I haven't seen the 200 groups that you're talking about. I'll have to do some looking though.
Yeah,
I'm do some 200 plus mile an hour action. That'd be awesome.
I mean, right now I got Albert Anderson traveling at 207.
Wow.
Oh, I don't see that on my screen. Well, that's good.
Oh no, his top speed was 207. He's doing 185 right now.
Okay, well.
So that tells me we're going to see huge runs. I mean, these guys are going to be catching the draft from way behind, and they're going to be flying.
That indeed. As always, we thank you all for tuning in and watching. See quite a few of you guys out there in chat. If you haven't noticed, our subscriber count 3 away from reaching that 300 point. So if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, so that way you get alerted every single time that we go live. You don't want to miss any of the great racing action that we have to bring y'all, especially you don't want to get surprised when that off season comes around, because I know it can sneak up on some people like, oh, they're back to racing already? Oh, geez, I gotta tune back in again.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you subscribe and hit that bell, you'll definitely know when.
Man.
Mash all the buttons, as Turner likes to say.
Yeah, hit the buttons. Even hit the thumbs down. I don't care. I'm just ashamed of that we don't have 300 subscribers yet. Y'all have been begging, and nobody's showing up and helping us. That's a shame.
Boo-hoo. I tell you what we did get, though. The generous outpouring that we've got from NTRL. Derek put up a donation page for us, and we sure appreciate everybody that sent us a few bucks. I mean, that means a lot to us. We really enjoyed doing these races for y'all, and just the outpouring of support and kindness and stuff that we've gotten from the guys over there at NTRL, and NTG as a whole. We sure do appreciate you guys. Feeling the love.
It's going to actually be able to pay for a bottle of liquor drink or something, you know? It's going to be nice.
Hey, just about as we get all gridded up here down on pit road. So let's tell you where your favorite driver qualified here this evening. And it's going to be a team of goats getting things all kicked on off here at the front. Paul Durkee in the 13 machine got the top spot. He's going to have the 8 of Brandon Coleman starting to his outside there. So the front row being controlled by some mountain goats. You got the 79 of Stub Nation, Timothy Stubblefield, starting here tonight in third, with the 69 of Larry Dickerson in fourth on his outside there. 751 of Mike Adamson and the 747 of Albert Anderson will be starting side by side here for 5th and 6th. 31 Scott Milner will start tonight in 7th, with the 8th place position driver going to be the 03 of Dylan Bryant. You got the 67 of Cubby Nathan Stanley starting tonight in 9th, with the 00 of Joe Bennett rounding out your starting top 10.
73 of Josh Kelleher is going to be starting inside row number 6. Already gave his 73 Tribe out there, shout out on YouTube. Thank you for that. Tom Bearish is going to start to his outside in that double nickel machine. Derek Welch, the boss man in the number 1, will start 13th. 14th will be his buddy Mac. Mark Collins in the 23. 19, Justin Lawson starts in 15th place. And it looks like Richard Gray will start 16th, and Joe David rounds out your field here, 17th place.
All right, well, that's going to be your field here for these upcoming 80 laps from Daytona as they all grid up behind the pace car. Just a few more people kind of lollygagging about, but it looks like they're going to miss the start here. So Justin Lawson and Joe David not going to be amongst these 17 drivers immediately here in the grid.
Save a lap of fuel.
Yeah. And at least as the pace car starts rolling, and Paul Durkee started rolling, but Brandon Coleman sleeping at the wheel there, waiting for everybody to grid on up.
It's the daylight savings time. The change.
The lag.
It's got everybody a little bit different feel right now, I think.
You've been jet lagged. That's kind of what it feels like, even though it's an hour.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Like,
So we look over at the YouTube chat right now. Jessica Stubblefield saying, "Hey Turner, got some great NFL news. The Titans will be wearing the Oilers jerseys for the first home game of this upcoming season."
that's blasphemy. Blasphemy.
I think it's a great tribute.
No, it is not. None of those people in Tennessee ever had to stand around off Kirby outside the Astrodome and damn near get robbed just to get in to see the Oilers. No. What a shame. It's a tragedy. They shouldn't even... Why would you even waste your time with those great uniforms that belong to Houston, not Nashville? That sickens me. And now my race is ruined.
Triggered.
Well, we also have
Go
some
through the pain.
We also have some
Sorry.
other great fans out there. I saw Ann T out there for Josh Kelleher, Richard Michelow Gray saying what's up, even though he's in the car. Jennifer Ray cheering for that Stub Nation. Timothy Stubblefield, John out there in chat as well. Of course, Jessica Stubblefield, Kayla Lawson out there as well saying go Goats. As the pace car pails right on off as we get ready to go green flag racing for the first time here tonight. 15 drivers all up in this main draft going side by side down that front straightaway, hustling and bustling into turns 1 and 2. Ooh, looked like we had the 55 Tom Bearish and the 23 of Mac Daddy Mark Collins up there scraping the outside wall kind of already, but they will be able to, I think, hold on to this draft as the 13 of Paul Durkee continues to guide this field around. Looks like the 751 of Mike Adamson's going to drift back to the back of the field. And here comes with a big run, the 8 of Brandon Coleman jumping up a couple spots, but that's also leaving the 69 Larry Dickerson up on the outside lane, with Albert Anderson getting a huge mega run there before stalling out in the mid corner. The one of Mr. Bogus himself, DW, riding around up in that upside train, trying to make up a few positions here alongside Double O Joe as they go side by side, and that first lap will be led by the 69 of Larry Dickerson.
Dickerson just with a nose out there on that outside line. Outside line was pretty tightened up there for a little bit. Team Goats, of course, leading the inside line here. Pretty great start to this race. Yeah, Adamson falling back, but as long as he stays in the draft, he's fine. I mean, we talk about these this pack racing all the time about how you can just stay in the draft there. Larry Dickerson went low there to try to stop progress, and we had some loose race cars.
Matt, we did the 13. Paul Durkee backing way out of that one, leaving the 8 of Brandon Coleman up there to kind of fend for himself. And here comes the Double O Joe out like a rocket. He's got boosters attached to that thing as we go 3 wide here on lap number 3. Albert Anderson kind of stuck in the middle. This is where Albert is trying to pray to Jabu or somebody, trying to make sure he makes it out alive, but everyone able to figure out that situation and get on out of it pretty okay.
Joe Boo. I haven't heard that in a while. That was a great movie. Major League.
Must wake up the bats.
Yeah, he's had some choice words for Jobu. look at Richard Gray. He is the last car out on the racetrack right now, but he's still within striking range. Everybody in this field, you know, you can go from front to back in no time here. So as long as you're keeping that draft, like you said, no problems. Just keep trucking around.
We did get the 55 up into the wall here for about 100 feet there. Yeah, I got a train.
It's a train?
I was gonna say it sounded like a heavily modified Toyota Supra.
A big turbo on them.
Normally don't hear the turbo.
Wound
all I
up.
hear is the lousy horn. All the clanking on the tracks out there.
Well,
Yeah, the
just
55
hopefully it
did get a
didn't.
piece of- 55 did get a piece of the wall there a couple laps ago. I'm sure it's going to hurt his aero. He needs to stay with some other cars if he wants to have a chance to stay in this draft till he gets it fixed.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that booty judge guy doesn't tip that train over in your backyard. That's what he likes to do now.
I've had nightmares about.
I
train
bet you
derailments
have.
back there.
Well, especially
It's
now.
so close.
Pray for English when in the train, y'all. This could be serious with this regime we have in store. The booty judge guy likes to tip trains over. That's his thing.
P Perfect, a 33 out there saying, let's go Team Plus EV, the 00 and the 67. Hate missing the race, but have some major PC problems. Yep, I've been there.
I believe that's our friend Paul Ferdiani, if I remember correctly. But I could be wrong. I did break my vow of liquor control and had myself some of that Sinatra blended Jack Daniels last night. So
Sounds like you didn't indulge too bad. You were still coherent when I was talking to you.
It got me. I'm not gonna lie. Just the one glass, and it got me.
Oh, well, you're talking to a couple of pros here. You sounded just fine to us.
Yeah.
No problem. It must have been a tasty treat, though. Old Frank Sinatra, he knew how to drink.
Oh, it was, and that was a great partnership that those two brands have put together there. And see, 13 Paul Durkee continues to guide this field around. Ooh, that ain't a Brand Coleman getting a little squiggly there behind him. I think that lack of air by being so close to that back bumper was making him just a little bit extra loose.
A dirty air, and it didn't look like it was a perfectly square push either. And we just saw it again. Whoa, little push the pusher, maybe. That was kind of scary up in front.
And
31 saw it. Scott Milliner trying to get down the track and get out of the way there.
you know, that's what we really enjoy about these Xfinity cars is, you know, the trucks, they're great for, I don't want to say rookie drivers, but people trying to get into like the sport of NASCAR and whatnot, especially here on iRacing. They're, I don't want to say easy. I mean, there's no such thing as an easy car to drive, but they're easier than a lot of things out here in the sim. And then you get the Super Cup cars that they got going on now that are just, you know, bought from Harbor Freight. You have no idea what's going on with those. But then you get the Xfinity car, you get all the horsepower in the world, and then no aero to it as well. It just adds to the excitement here, and the little mistakes do compound and add on up.
Got me thinking, yeah, I wonder if Dean Martin's brand ever did anything, because, you know, that cat could drink.
He had a brand too?
I'd save up some money if they did like a Dean Martin whiskey.
Do the Rat Pack all together.
Yeah, he was a better singer than Sinatra anyway. I said it.
He didn't have the Sinatra look and
He didn't
vibe
have the connections. He wasn't as connected.
with the Mafia, yeah.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
no mafia.
They were all great in Cannonball Run, though. That was
Lots
Great
of
movie.
cameos.
Yep. There is quite a bit of movement on track. I'm watching
Yeah.
Josh Kelleher, 73. He's holding his line steady, and he's got a little, seems like some buffer room in case something happens in front of him. That might be a pretty smart play.
I was gonna say that's from what I've been seeing out here. That's exactly what I would be doing, especially knowing this is an 80 lap race and they're only an eighth of the way through it here, going on to lap number 10, and these guys are just having at it here tonight. I think they all know what's on the line, and as we get the 79 of Stubblefield doing some bobbing and weaving there on his own, guiding that to bottom lane around, taking the lead for a second before up there on the outside lane. Paul Durkee getting everybody back up to speed. Looks like he was trying to drift down here in front of Stubbs, but he's not going to be able to do it here as Stubbs comes and fills that gap and closes that window of opportunity.
Yeah, Paul said he's sitting enjoying an old-fashioned made with Maker's Mark 46.
Ooh, that's a quality one right there.
So was a wild turkey guy.
It's all right. It's pretty stout.
I like that. I like that harsh bite. That burn. I enjoy that.
Yeah, you just might as well get some diesel fuel and
Might as well. Why don't you just drink poison?
Why don't you tell the audience about how it is to drink diesel
Why don't you
fuel?
explain to the folks, explain to the folks who Frank Sinatra was. Those who may not know.
Well, drink diesel fuel. I have not done. I have tasted diesel fuel though. Not good.
Gasoline.
Got a nice smell to it. I do like the smell.
The winter blend might be better. I'm not sure.
It's a winter blend. You really putting some thought into this.
You gotta swirl it around in a glass and smell it. Take a little sip of it.
But you have to smell it with your mouth open though. That's what I'm.
That's right.
That's what I learned last night with over there at my neighbor. You gotta.
Tastes like an 87 octane Chevron from last year. Yeah.
I mean, why don't y'all just start huffing paint if you're going to start doing that? I mean,
no, we're not doing that. Nobody's injecting bleach or any of that stuff.
No, that's a myth. Stuff. But there was kids, these generations behind us that aren't very bright, that they were eating these Tide Pods. You ever hear about that? What the hell is going on with that?
It's like a TikTok challenge. The Chinese are trying to get these kids to eat stuff they're not supposed to eat.
Exactly. It all comes back to the Communist Party.
Why would they make it colorful colors if you're not supposed to eat it?
If they didn't want it to look like or taste like candy, yeah.
Oh, God.
Check out the pushing job the goats are doing up here on this outside line. I'm convinced that's the place to be right now. That outside line looks like it's got the advantage over the inside. I don't know if that's because they're better organized up there. They just have a lot better momentum right at this time.
I think they'd have to be, because normally here we see the lower line do much more damage than the high line, so they have to have something going on together to make it work.
Yeah, they just don't have enough help on the low line, I think. It's definitely easier to hold your line when you're keeping it right on the double yellow there. I've always found that to be the case here. There is a seam line you can see right there as they go through the turns here, where you can use as a reference point as well. And that dash line, it's not there all the time though.
No, it is definitely not. As you can see, the kind of jostling going on here as Scott Milner tries to stay behind that Stubblefield Nation 79 machine, getting him back up here to the front. Not exactly staying right there on that bumper, but whenever he gets a run, doing a quick as he a little bit of a bobble there, touching the apron.
The NTG cars kind of split up there. The 23, the 1, and the 55. Just running different lines.
And everybody still staying here, staying with it. As looks like Nathan Stanley disconnecting.
Oh, he had
connection,
Yeah,
I
a
guess.
packet issue. Yeah.
So that leaves us with 14 cars out there. So at least until the first green flag pit stop, I think we should be pretty uneventful here. As it seems like they're holding it together and being patient.
Well, we said that about a couple of races here already, and we've been surprised. So we'll just have to wait and see as everybody's still bobbing and weaving. Double O Joe Bennett finding his way on up to the front here.
Well, I'm saying that because it's like I'm trying to start something.
Explain to these people, Adam, what a green flag pit stop is and when you think it might happen.
Well, thank you for giving me the floor, Alan. That's when there's a green flag and then you have a pit stop. And when it's going to happen, I don't know. Maybe 20, 25? What do you think, English? I'm just guessing.
I'll go with that. That sounds about right to me.
It's going off the
We'll
math
find
of
out.
prior races.
Sure, yeah.
We don't have time to set up any testing anymore. We do so much of this broadcasting.
I apologize. I didn't have time to get a promo post out there today. But the link is posted now, so.
What's going on over there in the YouTube world? Does anybody care that we're here tonight?
Not really.
Oh.
Well, Alan says he's drinking H2O. I'm drinking a Bush. Let's see.
I probably spelled Bobby Boucher wrong. I can't remember how to spell that last name, but
we understood though.
Yeah, that's why I spelled it like that. It's spell how it sounds.
You can't ever spell anything in Louisiana. It's got to have an X in it, or there's always some kind of problem.
Random EAUX and Boucher is I think it's BUCHER.
You're probably right.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, just common spelling, like everybody knows.
If you've lived down here, you know. If you know, you know. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, that indeed is. Albert Anderson and Mike Adamson alongside Richard Michelob Gray kind of holding down the fort here on the back end of this thing, just giving each other a little bit of space. I think Albert might have got a little freaked out from that earlier kind of chaos going on up at the front, not feeling comfortable, saying, hey, you know what, I think my buddy Mike over there's got the right idea. I'm going to trickle my way on to the back, and being in the back is pretty nice because at least you know then you're not going to get run into.
Durkee and Coleman still dominating the front of the race right now. From that outside line, doing some great teamwork there and pushing.
Yeah, having a problem, though, lining up those bumpers as these cars get a little squirrely down that back straightaway. And these guys continuing to try to push that top line back around where Double O Joe Bennett is. It's kind of one of those things. I think if they are able to square up kind of like they are now with some help from that 23 of Mark Collins, they might actually be able to make up a little bit more ground than what they're doing. But I mean, you also can see the 13 of Paul Durkee. There's been multiple times he's been clear to come on down and take control of that bottom line, but he's not leaving his teammate up there all by his lonesome, basically.
Yeah, we saw 69 and Dickerson do that earlier today, and then he kind of ended up getting do-si-doed out of the lead there, but he's working his way back up there. I think he's about in 9th place right now. Still right at the tail end of this 2x2 here up front.
And right behind him is the 55, Tom Barish, after scraping that outside wall, trying to keep the speed up here and continue to drive on, as we're probably going to be getting to those pit stops here pretty soon, boys. And I don't know if I highly doubt he will use a faster pair, but he'll at least try to get whatever damage done he can get fixed there in the 14 seconds it's going to take for that pit stop. Ooh, as the 23 Mark Collins goes scraping that outside wall.
Hold on to her, Mac.
Well, he lost it a little bit, but good thing we're not in the Harbor Freight cars. He probably would have lost some kind of spindle or something, you know. Control arm would have been gone. Whoa, drifting up the track there.
One of those pot metal made out of
yeah. Probably like the Bauer or the Pittsburgh version.
Father Heat says, let's go 03. 03's right there running about 8th right now. He's back there with the other two we were just talking about. Check out the side drafting action we're starting to see out of the 00, as it looks like the Goats have moved down to the inside line, probably prepping for a pit stop here before long. That's probably why they're down there, just my guess.
Well, Stubbs is down there too. Perfect position for a pit stop on the low line.
Started
like a
to read
Sunday drive.
Paul's message, but it disappeared on me.
Who?
P Perfect 33 wrote a post. I was just about to read it, and then now it's gone.
Well, he was saying he was mentioning about 00 not having any teammates out there and working his way up there to the front.
He's doing a great job up front.
Do you think Zuckerberg censored him and they took his post away?
No, I think he took it away because he noticed an error or something. He's probably retyping. It's his message retracted.
I didn't see that on my small device.
I do that if I put typos and stuff too. A lot of time
Well, you got to be perfect, huh?
I don't look like a dummy.
I wasn't going to comment on that.
Yeah, let's get into that.
We're not
If
going
you already posted
The only
it-
thing we're going to get into here is the
not
pit lane
grammar
as we get
fully.
ready for some of these green flag pit stops to happen. As I think the window, I would say, is officially open here, guys. Probably, about 30 laps of fuel is the maximum these guys have?
Probably.
It has to be. Yeah, I just don't see him.
What do they got? 70%?
Yeah, I don't see him holding anymore. Yes, 70%. Yes. They could have been
Especially the
siphoning fuel, putting them in a roll cage like they did back in the day.
Well, the guys running up front, of course, are going to be burning the most. Durkee's got to be getting close. He's been up front longer, at the front of a line longer than anybody, I think. So he's been running it wide open. These guys that are riding behind him, are running at 3/4 throttle. Thanks to that draft, comes another little bump from Coleman to Durkee. They're working so well together up there as a team.
As you can see what it looks like at 190 miles an hour from the rooftop of the 03 of Dylan Mad Max Bryant, working that bottom lane right behind that number 1 machine. As looks like the 23 Mark Collins dives on down in front of his teammate there. Guys,
Go a lot of single file here. I think it's coming this lap.
I think you're right, and I think the 73 of Josh Kelleher is just trying to find a spot to get down to that bottom line so that way he can pit with everybody else. As always, it's probably, getting a good, pit stop is important, but not as important as it is pitting with other people and having some help getting back up to speed here. Is looks like Adamson and Anderson pitted the last go around.
Yeah, they pitted together, so
here we go.
NTG's staying out.
Got Durkee, Coleman, and Stubblefield making their way on in. So still a good chunk of this field yet to come on down. Albert looks like he took pretty much fuel only and filled it on up. Mike Adamson basically taking a full stop there, so he's going to be a little bit behind Albert. And unfortunately, the field got by him before he was really able to get up to speed. So he's not going to have really any of that help either. So things starting to kind of crank on up here as we continue to race with the green flag out.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I bet some of those guys that were practicing green flag pit stops in practice are glad they did it now, because you got to get that car down to what, 60 miles an hour here for the pit lane after going 190, 200 miles an hour. So it's hard on them brakes coming out of 4.
Yeah, and if you can flat spot your tires real easily if you slam on the brakes too hard or you go in too hot. So it is a difficult entry, especially when you're going 180 miles an hour like we are here.
And that kind of screws up your fuel only stop if you do ruin those tires, locking them up on entry there. So you have to think quick and check those boxes and get the tires changed as well if that happens.
Here comes our next round. See what happens with them.
This looks like this will be the rest of the cycle.
It looks like it, as everybody else coming on down the big old gaggle. Crossing that line onto pit lane. Double O Joe leading that line. 23 Mark Collins getting into his spot, looking pretty good here. It looks like a pretty good pit stop for all these guys.
I didn't see anybody speeding or missing a pit box or making any other kind of silly mistake.
Oh, they look good coming down. I mean, it was a large group. About, what do we have?
And they're all coming out
cars there?
together as well, so no one maybe changing anything really on up. So I think that was one of the cleanest big group pit stops I think we've ever seen.
I think you're right. It looks like a bunch of fuel fill-ups. Not a whole lot of full stops. There's several.
And I mean, even at the bare minimum, yeah, pretty much everybody is going to be right back on top of each other just in time for that team of goats to be coming around out of turns 1 and 2, back down this straightaway here at full speed. So they're going to have to try to pick and move their way around some of this traffic while everybody else, gathers back on up. So it's going to be a minute, but we will be back to, pretty much a full packer racing just about here in probably a couple laps for everybody to settle on in. The 23 Mark Collins is going to lead this lap coming back out of those pits, and he's got some help with that one. The 00 and the 03 all grouped up there. Same thing with the 69 of Larry Dickerson. Then a little bit of a gap to where Durkee and Coleman are, but Tom Barish able to jump onto the back of them. Josh Kelleher, he's right there in the mix with some draft. Same thing with that 31 of Scott Milner. But don't count out that 110 of Richard Michelob Gray and the 79 Timothy Stubblefield. They're a little ways out of it now, about 5 seconds, so they're not going to have any of the draft. But if something were to happen here up at the front, that's basically going to take out everybody here in this field, and they'll basically have a freebie go around.
Paul Durkee with the fastest lap of the race, 46.45. He got a huge run while catching this front group here. Not to mention a great pusher in Coleman. Yeah, he's actually tied with Coleman for the fastest lap there. Must have went down to the third decimal point to decide that one.
Man, I'm starting to feel that jet lag you were talking about, English. Just time change. Ooh, Kelleher.
Another
just
cold
got
one,
the
man.
wall.
He'll be right.
Yeah, probably need one. Maybe it's just depression, anxiety.
There's drugs for that too. There's plants you can pick up there in Oklahoma that'll help you with that.
No, it's legal around these parts. Well, Kelleher's locked up with Barish, seeing if they can get right back in that pack. They're not far off. Doesn't look like they're losing ground.
No, I think with these Xfinity cars, they punch just a big enough hole that as long as they can stay lined up here and working together, that 1.3 seconds is still just barely within that window, and you're starting to see it close on up a little bit more quickly now the closer they get. So able to stay up here with these guys is that 73 and the 55 as the 23 Mark Collins continues to lead here this evening, already coming up almost onto halfway here in about 6 more laps. So talk about that, Mr. English. Especially, again, I'm knocking on my butcher block wood desk here. We go green flag the entire way. These guys will only be racing for about an hour, maybe just a little bit over an hour, including pit stops and all that. But man, talk about trying to hold concentration that these drivers are having to do for that full hour.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to talk about that at some point, but yeah, it's so mentally fatiguing to stay 100% laser focused like these guys are. Just imagine going down the interstate, with turns in it, and you're bumper to bumper doing 200 miles an hour. It's just it wrecks your psyche and everything. I mean, you're so hyper focused that it just wears you out. So yeah, these guys are definitely going to be tired after this one, and probably got some adrenaline pumping up there, especially when they're as close as they are up here in these front 2 rows.
And I mean, not only that, but normally we do see a caution or two where they can at least, take a breather, get a sip before something. So far, the only breather that these guys have got were those, 13 seconds on pit road.
And that's not really enough time to, calm down and take a deep breath. You're there for 12 seconds, then you're ripping out of your box and trying not to speed. And next thing you know, you're focusing all over again on different things on pit exit, but you're still focused.
Well, speaking of being prescribed things, they got medicine for that. It's called Adderall. You can get hyper focused on that. It's like legal speed, man. Get you some of that. Start racing. You'll probably be focused for the however long you're doing it.
Sounds like I might need to get you in English some with this jet lag stuff from jumping back forward.
I'm good. I don't like the prescription stuff.
Why? It's just the pharmaceutical companies. It's for your best interest.
Oh yeah.
They work with the government. You can trust them.
Yeah, so Scott Milner, unfortunately, all by himself out there, just losing seconds per lap out there, trying to just mosey his way on around here on this track. Stubblefield and Gray still working together. They're going to eventually actually pick up Milner here in about probably one more lap. They'll be all caught up with him, and Albert Anderson and Mike Adamson still working together as well, trying to catch back on up to this main group, which is being led by that 23 of Mark Collins and the 1 of Derek Welsh. Both drivers up 12 positions here, fighting for this race lead. 00 Joe and 03 of Dylan Bryant side by side right behind them. You got the 13 and the 69, as well as the 8, the 55, and the 73, all up inside this main draft as we can continue to put laps down here from Daytona. Well, while we got a good green flag run going, let's go ahead and take a look at the current point situation coming into tonight. Dylan Bryant holding that top spot here over Paul Durkee by about 11 points, but Chris Klein is up there as well, but it sounds like Chris is going to be missing the last few races here due to some work stuff or something like that. Albert Anderson, Joe Bennett, Paul Ferdiani missing out here tonight. Stubblefield, Collins, Lawson, who basically did a start and park, and DW all inside that top 10 championship push out there racing here tonight. And a win can really affect some of these standings out here, especially the 03 Dylan Bryant. I don't want to say he would lock up the championship spot if he gets a win, but it gets him pretty dang near to it.
Yeah, I don't understand. We had, 3 guys disconnect early. Cubby, Lawson and Joe David. But man, if you're Lawson there, you're still within striking distance. If you can get a good finish near the top, you at least maybe got a shot at finishing, up high in the championship. But he decided to put it on the trailer early tonight. I'm sure he has his own reasons, and I'm not second guessing anybody, but golly, I'd be out there trying to scrape for every position I could get, try to take out, Adam Turner if I had to, just to gain another point.
Well, you did that anyway.
I was going to say, you would take out Adam Turner for a Klondike bar, man.
Yeah. You don't even care, even if it's not for points. You do it for fun. You're diabolical. Always trying to undercut me. Which one?
The chocolate coating on it. And it's like got crisp rice in it. You know what I'm talking about? Like crisp rice stuff, like a Nestle Crunch, but it's on ice cream. You don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
A Nestle Crunch ice cream bar? I don't know. Sounds delicious.
Or Eskimo pie. I used to eat them.
Did you ever eat those orange push pops, the orange ones?
No.
Yeah, that's all they had back in the day.
I ate orange sherbet out of a tub when I was a kid. That was always good.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
Well, Paul says online there that Logitech drivers caused a problem with his PC. Wonder if it's affecting anyone else. I've had a lot of problems with Logitech software. That software that they have that controls all your lighting on your mouse and keyboard and all that stuff, it's constantly screwing up my audio. So every time they do an update, I have to reset everything. It's a pain in the ass. Had a lot of side-to-side movement there that you guys just spotted, I'm sure.
Well, it's just the Chinese trying to steal your data with those drivers and whatnot. No big deal. Just update them. That way they can get all the information they need over there to Beijing.
Ain't gonna really learn much from me, I don't think.
No, and Paul, you are definitely not the only one. I've heard multiple reports across all the sim communities that I'm a part of that it's caused some havoc out there. And one of the worst ones isn't necessarily the Logitech. It's that other one, isn't it? It's or is it the Logitech that messes with your sound stuff there, English? Somebody.
Yeah, I was just talking about that. It's what is it called? The program has a specific name, and it's not Logitech. Let me see if I can... It's called G something.
Either way, here we are just a little bit past half away as the field continues to round out these green flag laps in a hurry here. G-Hub, yeah.
Thank you, Father Heat.
As these guys continue to put down the speed, put down the laps, put down the rubber. We're going to step away here for a quick break and bring you the rest of this remaining half of this race here in just a minute. But, we always have to say a big thank you to all the people that support the NTRL, and what better way to do so than show off some fancy advertisements that they made for themselves and let them do the talking for themselves as well, so you don't just hear it from us, you can hear it from all those guys. So we'll be right back and return with some of this green flag action coming up close to some more green flag pit stops. As we interrupt this commercial break with some action out here and the yellow flag being waved, let's go ahead and take a quick look back at what happened. Starting with Double O Joe here. Got a little bobbly hit. The apron 69 and the 55 get stacked up in it. Same thing with the 73 getting tagged up in it as well. Thankfully, didn't look too bad, but still an incident nonetheless here as these guys had some little issues going on there. 69 Larry Dickerson missing a good chunk of that front piece he's got.
Yeah, he didn't have much of a front cowling left after contact with 2 cars and the wall.
That just shows you how precise you have to be down there when you're on that yellow line. You dip those 2 tires over it, you can really lose it, and that's what we saw right there.
Well, we're going to be approaching lap number 50 here, which will be pretty close to that 20 lap mark that those guys were running, and by the time we go back to green flag racing, it'll be about 30 laps to go, which is right around that pit window, so I'm assuming. And yes, here we go, everybody coming on down and in. And not only that, but this is bringing everybody back up and no longer in danger of going that 1 lap down. Everybody's getting all stacked back on up here as we watch everybody come on down and into their
73. 73 got hit by
pit lane.
Double O Joe waxed him coming into pit road. Ooh, that was fun. Double O Joe apologizing. It shouldn't be a big problem.
Yeah, I had the next pit stop occurring sometime between lap 52 and 55. So yeah, as soon as I saw yellow go, I thought, well, they're gonna go ahead and take it now. I didn't think anybody'd stay out. Everybody's going to be on the lead lap, as you mentioned there, Alan. So
69 of Larry Dickerson electing to not use the fast repair. Same thing with Double O Joe and Richard. Well, Richard might just be getting up to go get himself a drink. I don't think he's got any damage or anything like that. But the 69 of Dickerson, I'm very surprised not using that fast repair with how much damage he's got on that front hood. He may not be able to see how much damage he actually has.
Yeah, he's missing a lot of that race car. I think that his thing, if he doesn't know, I mean, that could be why he might not know the extent of it, or he's thinking, well, they're going to stack everybody back up. We're going to have another wreck, and I'll burn it then. But as long as he doesn't have any suspension damage or engine cooling issues, he could still go out there and click off laps and hopefully stay on the lead lap as Dylan Bryant comes back down the pit lane with Adamson.
And same thing with the 69. I think maybe he was going out there doing a little bit of a test run here, getting back up to speed and all that stuff, heading on out, realizing kind of what kind of position that car is in, and coming back on down. We're also seeing a few people come on down, maybe just adding that little bit of extra fuel as well. Because, I mean, I think every drop is probably going to matter here.
That's a good call. That's a great observation. I think that's what you're seeing. Guys topping up because, hey, they're going to be on the lead lap anyway. So they've still got a shot at the front with this. It's a really small field out here that they have. 14 cars out there. So, I mean, that's 7 rows, guys. It's not going to be a very deep field here.
Yeah, and anybody in that field can win it. I mean, that's
exactly
the best part. If we're bunched up here at the end of this thing, anybody can win it because it is still Daytona. We probably will see a big one near the end. But so far, pretty smooth sailing other than this one little hiccup we just had with Double O Joe getting underneath that yellow line. So still good racing.
Oh, just for your reference there, Turner.
Mm-hmm.
I just killed my third, and I was a .06. So I think it's about right. I think it reads better with beer than it does with hard liquor.
Yeah, that hard liquor gets into that machine, and the devil spitting fire.
We go green flag in the air as these guys get restarted here. The goats on the front row. It looks like Paul Durkee's going to go to the high side to join his teammate Coleman in the 8, who's been a great pusher all night here. The 1 not getting much help from the 23 of Mac, and they're starting to fall behind here. That whole inside line is losing ground. Here comes the 55 of Barish. He's going to move to the down low position right there in front of his team captain there, the 1. Albert Anderson's going with the goats there on the outside line. He's bringing Coleman and Double O Joe with him. They've got a huge hit of steam as they go around the outside of these NTG teammates here.
That's definitely a little bit of a scatter shot here as the racing action gets back underway. Double O Joe coming right back on up, getting right up behind the 747 of Anderson, trying to give that bottom line a little bit of life. What is going on with that number 1 DW machine out here? He's got Double O or the 110 of Michelob there kind of filling in the gap, but you can see everybody just kind of scattering about, being like, we just saw a caution after some good racing here. I think everyone's just thinking, I want my car to get to the end, and you can kind of see everybody being like, all at the same time, essentially being like, I want to go to the back.
Yeah, getting a little gun shy out there, I think, and Michelob's right there. He's got a couple of teammates around him here. I believe they're all on NTG. They have a different paint job. Yeah, they're all on one team here, it looks like. So.
Yeah, but I mean, not only that, but again, you do think about those that fuel situation too. I mean, how many of these guys were thinking ahead and being like, you know what, we're even still, it's probably gonna be pretty dang close. Let's be in the back to save some fuel, and that's why we're not really seeing 2 lines here. I think, as people are just kind of lined up single file, letting the draft do most of the work here, with Albert Anderson guiding that lane around. Looks like really nobody pitting after lap 50. So it's man, this is weird. This is just weird.
Yeah, well, speaking of weird, we are in Daytona, which is Florida. So a Florida man got naked, and he told the police he's from a different Earth. So that's almost proof that we do have aliens among us in Florida.
A different Earth, huh?
Yeah.
Like a parallel dimension, or?
I'm thinking so. I didn't delve too far into the story, but probably need to do some research.
That's the 751 Mike Adamson, the silent assassin, basically all on his own, went up around on that high side and caught back up to the 747 of Albert Anderson as Double O Joe Bennett. Now, I don't know what's going on here, guys. Like, this pack has like completely separated itself here.
Yeah, Mark Collins had a huge run, made up a few spots on the outside line. He's still going. He's throwing a little side draft on some cars down there on the low line. Look at the momentum the 23's got. He's got a few extra horsepower or something. They're going to tech that machine. They're going to tech him to death. Check his compression on all the cylinders and everything, I think. Look at that car run. He just passed about 7 or 8 cars, guys.
It's got a little extra in there, it looks like. Might want to check something.
Wow, what a run by Mac. Don't get too far out in front, Mac. We've seen people make that mistake before. You lose that support behind you there. You need to drag a little brake.
Well, so that's just it too. He by himself is separating from like double. He's got no draft. The only draft he's picking up is from Adamson.
Yeah, but it's not going to last. These guys are going to catch him here in a second when, it kind of equals out here. He can only stretch that gap so much. Oh no, it looks like the lead pack is going to catch up.
Yeah, no, it's just taking a good minute here.
A while. Yep.
I mean,
Father,
the
Father
13.
Heat says he's got a flux capacitor in that thing. I agree.
That's how that guy got from the different Earth. I think he just time traveled.
Maybe.
Anything is possible out here. Is the Double O now trying to kind of bridge that gap between Collins and Adamson and Anderson, all the way back here to the 13 of Paul Durkee. He's not really up on that back, giving some help to that Double O neither. He's definitely in a fuel saving mode.
Yeah, he's feathering that gas pedal just a little bit here. My math says they're not going to make it to the end. They are going to have to pit with probably about 5 to go.
Well, you know somebody out there is going to try to make it.
And
somebody out there will try to.
And I think we're seeing it here with the 747, 751, and the 23. I mean, at this point, if you truly believe you're not going to make it, wouldn't you want to join those guys way up the front, separate yourself from everybody else?
Not sure what your strategy would be at that time, but talk about some separation. The 13 and the 8 got separated a little bit there. The 03 of Dillon is now behind the 13 of Durkee. Yeah, I don't know what you do in that situation, really. Do you try to save fuel and just burn up and go as fast as you can, knowing that you're going to have to pit again, or you just ride around here like driving Miss Daisy and, try to save a ton of gas? I'm not sure what you do there, as Coleman has recaught the 13 of Durkee.
Yep, and a little bit of a trade of positions there as they kind of manage their speed and spacing, as Josh Kelleher, the next one, trying to jump on up to this front group of 4. Double O Joe Bennett just really not putting the power down here. I wonder, let's go ahead and thankfully we got a pretty good setup here, and we got a virtual camera to look back, and he does have some front end damage here, English. The hood is buckled up just a little bit.
Well, there you go. That's your problem right there. As the mechanic would say after he sees the car falling apart, well, there's your problem.
Well, why did he not use the stretch repair there on that last?
I think it's how we talked about. He doesn't think the contact part of this game is over with. He's counting on another wreck there. Coleman way down on the apron, lost control.
Yeah, what was that about?
Back up the track, I don't know.
He might have been sniffing some racing fumes there. We were talking about drinking diesel. Oh, his headset went afoul or something. So we got an explanation from him. He had to plug his headset back in or something. All kinds of crazy stuff happens inside real race cars and virtual race cars.
Yeah, from PC issues to, oh, here comes Limitless.
Yep. They're on some strategy. Now we know what they're on.
They know they're going to make it to the end now on fuel.
And coming on down and in as everybody gets regrouped. Oh, man, look at this move coming up through the middle here. The 03 of Dillon, Mad Max Bryant, Mad Maxing it here, splitting people, making it 3 wide for a split second, and catching on up and taking control of this race up here.
Yeah, they caught the 23 up high. He had to stay up there by the wall. Good job of Mac from not scraping in it at all. It got kind of crowded there for a second. Father Heat says 20 laps to go. A lot of stuff can still happen. You are absolutely right about that.
It's when the fun stuff actually happens.
That's
kind of like
exactly right.
What happened in Daytona Beach about a week ago when the Florida man opened his door and was bit by an alligator right there in Daytona. So be careful.
My grandpa used to tell us that my granny's pinky toe got bit off by an alligator when they had the high water years ago over there in East Loop. It was live, of course. It was a funny story.
It is a funny story. So was she missing her pinky toe?
No.
Oh.
She never wore open-toed shoes. You know how conservative my family was over there?
That's true. How would we ever know back then?
You never know.
Remember when you go to whatever, and your grandma would be in there and she'd be like
a robot.
Don't ever touch touch my hair. Don't get my hair wet. I just went to the beauty parlor.
I'm the only thing I got from that was don't touch my hair.
What's wrong with my
Sound
computer?
like a robot.
Yeah, you're all Merc and Zuckerberg out.
How am I now? Did
You're
the
good
aliens get me?
You're good now.
Yeah.
No, just you know, they back then they all went to the beauty parlor every week, so you couldn't get their hair wet when you're at the lake or whatever. Got yelled at with a cigarette in their mouth, yelling at you.
Stop
Don't get my
splashing,
hair.
get my
Yeah,
hair.
it's
I
exactly.
just had my hair.
Yeah, you've seen it. You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
Because when you get a perm, I learned this from Legally Blonde, by the way.
Yeah.
That you're not supposed to shower within a certain time frame, otherwise it just takes all the chemicals out that did the perm.
That might have been it. She had a big old beehive too. You know, remember those beehives? Beehive haircut. That kind of went away.
There's a big freight train moving around here up on the outside, being led by the 73 Josh Kelleher, 00 Joe Bennett, helping that movement alongside the 55 of Tom Barish with the 79 of Doublefield, leading a couple of laps there, and then saving it here a little bit. 31 Scott Milner tucking right back into line. So I think this is basically a little cat and mouse game where everyone's going to be kind of in single file for a bit until you kind of mentally try to connect with other drivers out there and say, all right, I'm going in 3, 2, 1, and see who else goes with you.
Father Heat says fun stuff happens, when you got about 10 to go, and we're going to see that here. About 5 or so more laps. We're going to get the 10 to go here. Here comes. Look at Mac running that outside. He's got a cup engine in there or something.
It's this
Or a COT engine in there. I don't know what. Look at him flying. He just understands how this car drafts, I guess.
This side draft here in this this Xfinity model, man, must be pretty insane, because look at all the people lining up to go with him now on that outside lane. 31 of Milner saying, hey, I see you, 23. I'll come up with you. The one of DW is going to do the same, but unfortunately, I think it's going to stall out here mid-corner. So I think we're going to go back to 2 wide racing for a little bit here until they can kind of get things all figured on out.
They used to say that Dale Earnhardt Sr. it's almost like he could see what the air was doing. He was just so good at running these cars in pack racing, and he understood the aerodynamics of it. It was like he could see what was happening with the air there. Mark Collins might have that gene, because, man, that's the second time we've seen him just run and fly around everybody.
He's making a run on the top. Milner.
He's down in front. Now we start the little do-si-do action up here in front. We'll see a few lead changes here as they start to kind of level out.
Ooh, what happened there? Milner came back up top.
Yep, causing a little bit of confusion here up at the front, but everybody's still hanging on to it, having a pretty good run, as here comes that 23 Mark Collins moving back down to the bottom with the 73, getting a big old run here as the one tucks into right behind that 31 machine. How about that 110 Richard Michelob Gray up double digits now? He's in it for a fight.
Yeah, man, old Michelob up there in that 110, the oldest man in iRacing, we call him. Sticking behind the boss man there in the one.
He is pretty old. He might have raced here when he was banned.
He had to take his horse-drawn carriage to his first NASCAR race. Father Heat saying, I'm telling you, it's the flux capacitor that 23 has in there. He's got something going on. We sure appreciate you joining us tonight, Father Heat, and the rest of our fans out there. If you hadn't already, give us a thumbs up on the video if you like what you see tonight. If you hadn't subscribed already, so give us a subscribe. We're almost to 300 subscribers here on the channel, and it's all for you guys. We sure appreciate y'all joining us every week. Jessica Stubfield's talking about Florida, man. She says the Florida people are just built different. Well, that's what she has to say about it. I've spent a lot of time in the Panhandle, and I can attest to that. tough people though. If you know, if you're gonna do crazy stuff, you might as well be tough.
Well, you got to be out there.
That's a neat place. They got some pretty beaches there in the Panhandle as well. Very pretty beaches,
Ooh.
pretty water.
So 110 almost gets up, scrapes the wall, comes down, fills the hole between the 73 and the 13.
Don't forget, a lot of these guys are still going to have to pit. We saw Adamson and Anderson pit here a few laps ago. They're going to make it on fuel, but the rest of these, rest of the field out here, more than likely they're going to have to pit to avoid running out of fuel. I think they're going to be like 5 laps short.
Well, we've seen it before where we thought they were going to be short, and somebody makes it miraculously. I don't know if we'll see that tonight. Yeah. I mean, somebody may really be saving, and we're just not paying attention. Somebody might save enough.
Some guys are really, really great at that. They know just where to lift and
Shut the
shut
thing
car
off.
under caution. Yep.
Right.
Riding the clutch even. Like getting a big run and then clutching in right as you get to that car in front of you, and then letting the gap grow again, and then catching them again, clutching it in. I see a lot of single file now. I think some guys are thinking about it. I think they're starting to realize the time is near to come down and top off with splash and go.
That indeed. And of course, with all the Mary Susan shuffling around going on, or Lazy Susan, not Mary Susan.
Who's Mary Susan?
That's sister Mary Susan. Don't speak ill will of her.
That was
none.
That was that nice elderly woman that Turner was earlier talking about. But the Lazy Susan out here in full effect. So everybody's kind of in that same position. I don't think anybody was able to save up that amount of fuel. So it's really just the game of Albert Anderson and Mike Adamson, who are quickly catching up to Larry Dickerson here in that 12th spot. They're able to push a little bit more than everybody else, and they are starting to eat some of that time away after they went on down into that pit lane.
This is a strange race. I don't know if y'all kind of feel the same way as I do. It's just kind of weird.
It's a strange vibe.
It's not in a bad way. It's just different. Like Mark Collins running away in a pack of cars is strange to me. I haven't seen that before. Whatever they're doing up there is different.
Michelob letting his teammate down there, the one. I think we're getting really close here to seeing some pit stops. But I gotta go check on this rutabaga.
Yeah. Well, Richard Gray's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Maybe tonight will be his night.
It might be, as we continue to run here inside. 8 laps left to go. The 23 Mark Collins guiding these guys on around 31 of Milner, and the 73 Kelleher lined up behind him. The 1 of DW, the 110 of Richard Michelob Gray, and the 13 of Paul Durkee staying on up there, as well as the 79 Timothy Stubblefield looking with a big run here, coming up on that outside lane by himself, using that side draft to its full advantage.
He is moving, isn't he? Still moving on by himself.
It's just that air coming off of these cars here, where on that outside line you can get it all lined on up. It's not quite the turbo tunnel where you'd split it right down the middle, but hey, you can get wherever you can get that extra air, man. Comes into big play as the 73 sees the 79, jumps on up to that outside line as well. 31 pinching up to that 73, trying to maybe throw the umbrella out there and draw him on back in, as they're going to come back down and across the line. 6 laps left remaining.
No signs of anybody. They could know something we don't know, I guess.
They continue to run. Looks like the 03. Dylan Bryant starting to maybe make a move. 69. Larry Dickerson moving up there with him, taking that outside line run as well. The 55. Tom Barish, he's sneaking a peek, trying to get on up there as well. Andrew Crofton saying, "Come on, Limitless," cheering on Albert Anderson and Mike Adamson. Some competitors over in another league jumping on over to cheer these guys on as racing action continues to boil up. 5 laps left to go now as we're back to single file, and I can't hear what the drivers might be saying on the radio, but I still haven't really heard or maybe a mention of coming on down into the pits.
Everybody's keeping their cards close to their vest here, and we're not hearing anybody talk about what they are or are not going to do. But it says a lot that we're this close to the end and everybody's single file. I think we're about to see some guys. They're going to have to come down.
And here comes that 55 of Tom Barish, though. He's going to be working that outside lane that we've seen a few guys use now to launch their way up to the front. And with 4 laps to go, how about this? Anderson and Adamson, who did come down to pit under green flag racing conditions, have caught up, and it's only about an 8.5 second gap here. So this field has been running slower than what we would expect it to do.
Did they do some of the aero package and everything of these cars? They're just acting a little different.
I don't know, man. I can't believe they still have the fuel to get to the end here. I thought for sure we'd see these guys fall short.
Well, on that first run, we saw people go 29 laps, and these guys pitted right around lap 50, so that would get them pretty dang close. They wouldn't have to save a lot, but they would definitely have to save some, as the 55 and the 79 go side by side here. The 55 getting a big push by that 110 of Michelob.
Do we have green-white checker opportunities here tonight?
We do. I know we have at least one.
Okay. So that may change things if some guys are starting to fall short on fuel.
Yes.
Whoa, 13 got a little
slicing
loose.
and dicing. Here comes the 23 Mark Collins. He's maybe made that move one too many times, leading these fields and not able to quite to save up the fuel. But the 55 Tom Barish, he's definitely feeling like he's saved up some of that fuel with 2 laps left to go now, as the team of goats out there, they were kind of taking their time, not running up here at the front, saving a little bit of that gas, trying to now move their way on up, kind of grid landlocked, you could say. They're kind of in the middle, really nowhere to go, as up on that outside lane, the 79 Timothy Stubblefield, with some help from the 69, getting pushed back up here to the front.
Yeah, Stubbs and Dickerson trying to bring that outside line around here. They've got their work cut out for them, so they got 2 sets of teammates to the inside there that are all working well together.
And just by about a car length, the 79 is going to get clear, not drop on down. But here we go. White flag is out, so no more cautions here this evening. This is it, the final lap. The gamble for Anderson and Adamson not quite paying off just yet. They're still about 8 seconds back, so if something happens here up at the front, as they remain 2 by 2 going down this back straight, we're now 3 by 3 back to 2 by 2 as people are peeking to look and maybe make it 3 wide, shooting up through that middle gap as they round out of that backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. Still side by side. The 79 out in front, being pushed by the 69. The 55 coming back with some resurgence here as they make in the final round out. Big contact in the middle. The 79 goes around. The 55 will cross the line, picking up tonight's race win. Dylan Bryant and Double O Joe Bennett sneak their way on through, and Brandon Coleman as well.
Thought Stubblefield had that race locked up there. I knew he was going to face a challenge from the inside line there, but I didn't see that happening.
He
My
kind of
goodness.
tried to block, look like the Dickerson. I mean, that was a
Well,
dangerous move.
One of them took it 3 wide. I didn't see.
It looked like the 69 at Dickerson drifted up wide, and it just runs out of room really, really quick. And I think Stubbs might have thought he could have prevented that run from the outside of actually happening, but moved up just a little too late.
Yeah, that was, well, just like always, we have a big one. It just happened to be at the end. Interesting race, totally different than what we normally see here.
Well, and I'll say this: Tom Bears kept a clean race car tonight. He definitely deserves to be up there. Driving that thing like he did all night tonight. The double nickel, Tom Bears. Good to see him up there getting a good finish here and picking up the win here. Only one more race to go here. So I'm curious to see what this is going to do to shake the points up a little bit.
Well,
Moving into the last race next week.
I will say the 03 of Dylan Bryant, though, finishing there in second, although it isn't a win, that's going to be looking pretty good on his points-wise of maintaining that lead up there up at the front.
100%. 100% correct. That's going to just about make it a runaway. Father Heat said it. He said the Red Sea kind of parted for Dylan to get that P2. He really did. He put it where they ain't, is the way I like to say it. You know, when you got cars spinning and going all over the place in front of you, you just find a gap, put it where they ain't, and just cross them fingers, say a little prayer, and hope you get through and pick up a couple spots. And that's what the 03 of Bryant did.
Yes, sir.
That's the old Yogi Berra saying.
What's that? Go where they ain't?
Hit it where they ain't. I mean, it's the same concept.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Well, either way, we're all ready here for some interviews to get underway. So we'll start things off with tonight's third place finisher, and that will be Mr. Double O of the Joe Bennett Racing Machine here. And Joe, I gotta say, man, that last run was no other way to put it, but it was strange, man. That was some of the strangest racing that we'd seen at a plate track. We saw the outside run just absolutely coming up like it had flux capacitors in those cars. We saw people trying to do the whole fuel saving, tucked back down into the single file. I mean, you're out there with some front end damage, dragging these guys along. That was an interesting Daytona race, one that we've never seen before.
Yeah, definitely nothing like that I've ever been a part of. That's for sure. It was, everybody was slowing down and saving gas, and I'm saving a little bit, and then I got, I'm watching my gas over here, and every time everybody would pull away from me, and I'm like, okay, guys, you're going to run out of gas. And then they would slowly, I'd catch back up to them. That was insane, man. That was crazy.
We knew it was going to be a fuel mileage game here after seeing, where that last stop took place. But, man, you took that Ford Mustang and kept it out there and stayed consistent. Great job picking up the third. Are you kind of looking for almost a repeat of what we saw tonight next week? I know you guys are going to have a little bit more room side to side at Talladega, but the racing's pretty similar to what you see here.
Yeah, I can guarantee you we won't have one caution at Talladega. It's going to be more because everyone's going to want to go 3 wide. I mean, I don't mind 3 wide. I like the middle, but a lot of people like to go up there, and there are runs on the top for sure at Talladega. That's a very interesting track. It's going to be a hell of a finish to the season, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Tonight was a good one. I think we're going to see a great one at Dega. You got any shout outs or anything before we let you go?
Yeah, just shout out to you guys for broadcasting. Every night y'all done amazing job all season long. My teammates didn't get to show up tonight. I had one teammate show up for me, and he got internet lag and lagged out of the race. And I was like, oh, I'm out here by myself. So, but shout out to all those boys because they helped me get up here at the end of the season, anyways. You know, Paul, Zeth, and Cubby, and Kevin, even though he doesn't race in the league anymore. And then shout out to Papa Joe. I forgot to send him the link tonight, so I don't think he got to see it. But oh well.
Well, if he was subscribed and rang that notification bell, he should have gotten a little alert on that cell phone of his,
And like the Facebook page, I always post a link on the Facebook page as well. I don't know if he's on Facebook or not.
Well, you got to give him a break. He's 55 years old, and he can barely operate his smartphone. So and sometimes I have to help him with text messaging, just sending pictures and text. So usually I just send him a link and he clicks on it. But yeah, shout out to him and shout out to, all these guys at NTR, man. It's clean racing. I love racing here. I'm an admin of the league, but I love, racing with these guys, man. It's really fun here. I love it.
Oh, great job out there tonight, Joe, and congratulations. We look forward to seeing you guys in that championship race coming up here at Talladega here next week, man. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
As we kind of move up the podium here, let's go ahead and talk to tonight's second place finisher, and it's going to be the guy that had the key word of patience in his mind here tonight. The 03 Dylan Bryant having the Red Seas part there at the end and shuffle his way on through up to a podium, helping his championship points out big time out here this evening. And, we were just talking with Joe Dylan about, this was one of the strangest fuel saving strategy wise for an entire field, not just a couple of drivers, but it was the entire field where things got kind of separated. We saw it was like single file, but not single file. We saw people leapfrogging around on the outside, but you stayed in there. You waited, and then at the right moment, man, you were able to pounce and make your move.
Yeah, it was definitely a strange race. I knew when the caution came out, it was going to be close, and that's why I went back inside the pits and topped off, and Larry did too, and we was hanging out in the back, and I was like, well, hey, I needed a little lap. So, I burned up a little bit of gas to make it all the way to the front, which was, easy because everybody was going 170. And then I let my lap and then back off and I fell back and about 3 to 4 laps to go, I think it was. I was like, all right, I should be good by like maybe a half lap. So it was luck low. Everybody started crashing, and I went in the middle. And a lot of times when you do that, somebody comes back up sideways and clip you, and then you lose a bunch of spots. So I was kind of more in saving my points gap lead that I have for next Sunday to hopefully try to win the championship. So, but it was definitely a strange race. Open qualifying and stuff. I was really hoping that it was single car runs, and that way I could, snag up the pole maybe, and because I really don't got a lot of teammates, and teammates was holding up the outside line, so you really couldn't make much passes, especially when one's on the bottom and one's on top. So, but I'm just glad I got second.
Yeah, Mad Max. The smaller teams definitely at a disadvantage at the bigger tracks like this, where it's all about pack racing and who's around you. But yeah, man, I kind of know what you mean when you see the cars starting to scatter. You just know one of them's going to slide back up out of the grass and just hit you in the left rear quarter panel. But luckily, you were able to stay ahead of that. I don't think you lifted at all, and you just, like I was telling Adam a minute ago, you just put it where they ain't. You just try to hit the gap as best you can and maintain your position. And you've got one hell of a shot at winning this championship next Sunday night. Well, good luck to you in that Pepsi Toyota.
Well, I'm going to bring the heat low for sure. And hopefully I can represent the NTRL guys. I'm going to be doing a little something for y'all next weekend. I kind of talked to a few people, and I'm kind of waiting on them. But for every lap I lead, I was going to donate $1 to y'all, just to add to what
Oh man.
Derek and everybody else did. So hopefully I can get some, some laps led and stuff. And if I win it, I was going to toss in an extra $10 on it. So it ain't much, but if I can get any more sponsors involved, involved in it and stuff, and anybody else that wants to be involved in it and stuff, well, then they are more than welcome to send me a message, and hopefully we can make y'all a little bit more cash. So,
Man,
Man,
that means a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. We do appreciate that. We appreciate the love Numb Thumbs y'all have given us. So we're just out here having fun watching y'all. We appreciate the reciprocity of y'all enjoying what we do, and we thank you. You set yourself up nicely. You got any shout outs looking forward to next week?
oh yeah. Just want to give a shout out to everybody. It's been a great season. We got one to go. Hopefully it's not as crazy as it is now. Shout out to Derek, all the admins and NTRL, man. I mean, they do a great job at keeping us all in line and being fair. Of course, AAA broadcasting, y'all do a great job every race, and I look forward to being in the league more next season. And also, I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention them last weekend when I won. So this time here, huge shout out to DEP Graphics. I'm sure I forgot to mention him. He does a lot for the league. The fans at home, they don't see like the cars and stuff that he posts up for us to go on the trading paints and uses custom paint schemes and stuff. And it does take time to make the paint schemes. I'm more slower than the average bear when it comes to making paints, and it takes me hours to do it. So so a huge shout out to him, all the great work he does. And then the NTRL trucking, anybody else that's involved in the sponsors and stuff, and I'm sure I'm missing a few of them. Track Bar Media, Sim Gear, I think it's Davidson Builders, I think is another one. Everybody that has anything to do with the league, from the broadcasters all the way down to the racers and stuff. Great job, great season, great league, and I hope that I'm representing NTRL next Sunday with the championship.
Well, that indeed there as the 03 Dylan Bryant picking up a second place finish here tonight as we truck along to the championship race at Talladega here next week, man. Go hop in that hauler, hop in that RV, get all buckled up and ready, man. We'll see you out here next week.
Sir, I hope you have a great night.
As we move on up for our final interview of the day, we get to talk to a man who we typically see not up there on the leaderboard, but tonight he is bringing home the race win and hard charger of the evening. Mr. Tom Barish out here picking up tonight's race win. Tom, congratulations. You strategized it out. You were one of the cars to beat out there here, getting that lead here late on in that run, man. Congratulations. What was kind of running through your mind there during that last little run?
Man, it was real strange with the way everybody was saving fuel. There was at the point where we were doing like 170 going down the backstretch. And I got behind Double O Joe, and I knew if anybody was going to be saving, it was going to be him. So I just kind of tucked up behind him and tried to use the least amount of pedal as I could to keep the draft.
We saw that happen, and we were kind of expecting, to see some pit stops with, 4 or 5 laps to go. But yeah, the entire field kind of had the same idea there, and they just kept the foot out of it and slowed way down. And man, it worked out for you there. Not only that, it wasn't just your strategy, but it was your skill out there on the racetrack. Let's not kid ourselves here. You kept a clean race car. That Camaro looks pristine, coming across the finish line. You don't have a scratch on it. I think you had a little bit of contact with the outside wall earlier in the race. That might have been somebody else, but man, you drove a great race tonight, and you definitely earned it, buddy.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I did hit the wall. I used my quick repair on the last green flag stop.
Okay.
Or no, it wasn't the green flag stop. It was the under caution, and I got 4 tires, as much fuel as I could get, and because we were talking about it in our chat before, it's like it's going to get close whether or not we can make it or not. And then once we saw Albert and then pit, and we knew they were going to make it, so some of the guys decided to take off, and then at that point, I just stayed tucked up behind Joe, and let it ride out. And I got real lucky there at the end with seemed like there was a typical plate racing at the checkered flag.
Well, y'all did it right. Man, what a run. Up 11 spots. You survived the mayhem there at the end and got yourself the first place finish. Congratulations. Who would you like to thank?
Man, I'd like to thank Derek and everybody at Numb Thumbs Racing. Joe and Richard Gray. Last time I won a race, Richard Gray was pushing me. He did a lot of pushing for me tonight. Derek and Mark, they're always helping me as best they can, or as best as I'll listen. And you guys too, man. Thanks for putting these on for us, man. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad to finally get to win.
Well, man, congratulations on that big one. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm feeling a little threatened. This man's got a radio quality voice to him, boys. Do you do radio?
Oh, man.
You got a really
Tell you
good
what,
microphone voice on you there, Tom.
Tom could do it, man. My neighbor from Mississippi over there, he could probably do it.
Yeah, I got a little bit of processing over here, but it's just a little hobby. I do a little bit, but it's just another hobby, just another thing to pass time and throw money at.
Yes, sir, indeed. Well, you definitely threw enough money at it here tonight. Picking up the race win, up 11 spots, man. Congratulations on that. We can't wait to have you guys back out here next week at Talladega.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, man. We'll see y'all next week.
Wait, I swear, he gonna take my job.
Do the play-by-play. Tom can do the play-by-play. You can run the cameras, and me and Earl will go on vacation.
Yeah, we'll just go home. It'd probably be a better operation if it ran it that way. But yeah, he's got a good voice for this. Well, we may have to use him as some fill-ins. Sometimes we leave.
We could keep him as an option on the fill-in schedule there.
Yeah, well, if he's willing to do the hard work. It's a tough job. Well, ours isn't tough, but Brown's is. But had a fun one tonight, Brown. What'd you think?
Yeah, we definitely did. As we go ahead and take a look at tonight's finishing order for what was one of the most interesting Daytona races that we'd ever seen here at AAA Broadcasting. With that 55, the double nickel, picking up the race win, Tom Barish up there, up 11 spots. You had the 03 of Dylan Mad Max Bryant splitting the seams, cutting it through there on that final checkered flag lap, and able to make his way on up into second. Double O Joe Bennett was able to hang on up there as well for a solid third place finish. You got the 8 of Brandon Coleman having a good run here tonight with his GOAT teammates Paul Durkee in that 13 machine, both drivers finishing 4th and 5th. 73, Josh Kelleher was in and out of it a little bit here today, but finished pretty solidly on the upside of that, finishing in 6th. The one, Mr. Bogus himself, DW, having a pretty solid run here as well, getting that 7th place spot. Even saw that 110, Richard Michelob Gray getting his hands dirty up there, pushing some people around, able to work his way on up to an 8th place finish. 79, Timothy Stubblefield, little last lap incident there. It's going to cost him a few positions, but still finishes up there in that top 10 in 9th. With a 31 of Scott Milner, he was kind of getting all tangled up in it as well, but was still able to find his way for that final top 10 spot.
Yeah, Larry Dickerson in the 69, also involved in that wreck there, finishes in 11th. I hope that him and Stubblefield realize, this kind of stuff happens at plate tracks all the time. Stuff happens so fast out there, it's hard to react to it. And I hope those guys continue to stick around here. They're so much fun to watch. And I know they had a little bit of different opinion on what happened there on the last lap. But, hey, man, stuff happens so quick. It's really, really difficult to, figure out who did what and all that. But good to see those guys out here racing this whole season here. 747, Albert Anderson in 12th there. Mike Adamson, his teammate, they did pit thinking they weren't going to make it on fuel. and it cost them a few spots out here. But they did the safe thing, and as you mentioned, they caught back up to the rest of the field. And if we had some guys running out of gas, those guys were going to fly around them. Mark Collins in the 23, man, he had such a fantastic night. It was rough to see it just kind of fly away from him there at the end. And then we have the rest of our field, 3 guys that had to disconnect there: Nathan Stanley, Justin Lawson, and Joe David. That rounds your field out tonight from Daytona.
That indeed. So here we go as we wind things down here from Daytona. We thank you all for tuning in and watching, as always, because you guys are the reason why we do it, and we are so close to that 300 mark, guys. So if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you get alerted every single time we go live. Don't worry, Papa Joe. I'm sure Little Joe will get you all set up on that one, but and of course, if you do like what you see, please hit that thumbs up button so that way Mark Zuckerberg doesn't shut Adam Turner down on us anymore, because we need Adam. He's part of the team. That's what we need. We also like to thank the great sponsors of JP Designs and 3D Prints, as well as Davidson Builders. Of course, we also have to thank AdminBoxx out there as well. We thank you guys so much for being a part of this great season. Also, big thank you to SimGearCentral.com as well, and TrackDogsRacing.com jumping on board here as the merchandising supplier of the NTRL and AAA broadcasting. Big thank you to you guys. Big thank you to Track Bar Media as well. Be sure to go check them on out for some fantastic videos and promos of sim racing and real life racing. They do a great job over there. And of course, big thank you to the Numb Thumbs Gaming trucking community as well. Keep those 18 wheels a rolling there, boys. We thank you for all your guys' support as well. So looking on ahead here for the upcoming week, barring that I have power in interwebs, that's going to be a discussion that I'm going to be having all week long as we take a look at where we're going to be coming up to. It's going to be Atlanta with the Vigilante Racing League on Wednesday night, so be sure to stay tuned for some of that great action coming on up, as those trucks are going to be basically racing around at an even narrower Daytona now that they've got that repave on in there. Should be a fun time indeed. But until that next time, I'm Alan Brown for Alan English and Adam Turner. We're signing off.
We gone.
See ya.